Welcome back to a early morning edition for some of us. Mike's probably been up since 6 a.m. or 5 a.m., but it's
I'm
early
old.
here
We
in the
don't.
U.S.
I'm old. We don't sleep anymore.
What
It's
time do
too
you go to
much.
bed at,
It's too much. It's
Mike?
tthe
Like
much like
6,
death.
5, 6 p.m.? Is that about the time to
No,
call it
I'm
a
a
night?
nine. I'm a 9:30 guy. 9:30 to 5.
What about if the playoffs are on, Mike, or like there's some big sporting event? Are you staying up late for that? Tell me you
Yeah,
got
of
some
course.
heart.
Of
Yeah.
course.
Are you a football guy, Mike? Do you stay up watching like Monday Night Football or anything?
Not a normal Monday night game, but playoffs. Yeah, hockey. Hockey. I'll stay up all night watching hockey
Oh,
playoffs.
I've been following hockey
Yeah.
all throughout the playoffs. Stars won last night, so I'm happy about that. A lot of
Yeah.
scoring, man. It's a different type
Yeah.
of league. But
Fun stuff.
um, it's game day, Mike, as
It
they
is.
say in sports. World Pool Masters is starting today, and I don't know about you, man, but I'm real excited. We've been doing a lot of stuff in regards to the event, and we're just gonna roll on with it, man. We got Emily Frazer of Matchroom Pool joining us. I think she might be talking with
Hello,
someone here, but here
guys.
she is. She made it.
Hello.
Sorry, yeah, sorry.
No, no, don't
Yeah.
apologize. Yeah.
Welcome,
Sorry,
Emily.
yeah.
How are you?
Yeah, really good, thank you. Just in the arena,
Oh,
ready. Well,
there,
yeah, I think. Oh,
there we go.
sorry.
There we go. There we go.
No,
No, no, yeah, there we go. Technical
I can't
difficulties.
do the robot or
I
anything.
need I need more coffee.
Yeah, it's early for you guys, right?
A
Yeah,
little bit, yeah.
it's work time. Come on, you're at work
It's
by this time in the morning.
Yeah.
It's 8.
Listen, I got up and I did a 45-minute run this morning. It was
Did
nice
you?
and sunny out. Yeah, yeah. It's actually quite nice doing an event where you can go home for the
Yeah.
evening. Like, it's a 40-minute drive for me, and to wake up in my own bed and to be able to go out for a run,
Yeah.
it's really nice for us. So take advantage of those situations.
Now, do
But
you have
yeah,
some of the do you have some of the staff hold up there at the hotel on site?
just our overseas guys. So
Okay.
we've got I say Marcel and Desi. They're right in front of me, setting up
Yeah.
the table. So they're up at the hotel, and obviously all of our overseas. But the Matchroom team, they all live locally here. So our offices are 5 minutes down the road. So this is
Well,
just a drive to the office.
Who's
So
babysitting the players at night?
oh,
it's got to be Matt's
listen,
job for sure.
we got no, we got two
Yeah.
player ambassadors now. That's their
Oh,
job. That's
that's
their job. Got
so
nothing to
that's
do
why
with
you did
me.
that. Yeah,
Did they
that's right.
know that was
Yeah.
part of the job description?
They got absolutely no idea what was part of it. But no, I'm joking. They're both really enthusiastic about it. They were kind of like, we don't really know what this entails. When Cole went to the recent PRP ranking event, that was kind of the first moment for him to go ask the players about the format, ask them about how the event's running. And credit to Cole, he wrote me an email when he got back from Spain, wrote an email to myself and just said, here are my notes. Guys, no joke. I feel like saying,
Wow.
I was about to say, don't tell anyone this, but it was the most professional email I've ever seen him
Yeah.
write. And I was really like, is he okay?
Yeah.
he got hacked.
He got
Wow.
hacked.
The
So
little
he's
boy is
taken the
growing
role.
up.
Yeah, he's taken the role by both hands, and he's like, and he wrote a load of notes, and he said, this worked. Spoke to a few players. They suggested this, and these are my thoughts on that. And he just wrote like a debrief, and I thought it was really professional. And that's
Wow.
what we want. So, and
Wow.
that's how. And I like how Cole and JJ, they're very different,
Yeah.
but respected in the same way. And obviously JJ's over located in the US, so he can handle a lot more of the US tournaments. And Cole can be located more for the UK European tournaments. So yeah, it's they got player ambassadors now, so
Nice.
they're really involved on the production. So yes, I'm really excited about it.
Wow.
Do you
Nice.
what's that process like from when they're giving you feedback to when you guys are addressing it as a team? Is it kind of like once the dust settles after an event? I mean, there's not a lot of room because so many events are kind of back to back to back, and in a lot of sense. But at what point are you guys sitting down and chewing on everything that has been given to you?
Normally, and it's something that I kind of implemented quite early on, and the team are really used to it, and we all now prefer it. After a long event, we always meet the day after it finishes in the office to debrief, and we talk about the event. So we all just have a chat, whether it's over Nando's or it's over lunch in Philadelphia after the US Open. Like, we have different scenarios, and we all just have an open chat, and we just chat about, like, the guys will turn to Phoebe and myself and say, love the arena, loved what you did here, love to that. And then, you know, Phoebe will turn around and go, oh, I saw on TikTok. And, you know, it's the whole team comes together and we talk about things. And then everyone takes a few days off and then gets ready for the next one. Yeah. So we make sure before we were quite bad at it, where we wouldn't have debriefs, and then we realized that they're there for a reason, and we always want to improve our events. So we put it in the diary, we talk about it, and then we move forward and we improve.
All right. So we're 4 days in Brentwood. Tell us about the event, about how excited you are, what we can look forward to, how it all came together.
Yeah, I was just when I arrived this morning, the players are sort of practicing, and practice is actually in the arena rather than upstairs than we did for the World Cup of Pool last year. And it's really nice. Like, the players, I just love this tournament. I love the size of the field. It feels like the elite are here, and the players are all at the practice, and it all seems like joking and all fun and games. And then I know as soon as I'm looking at them all going off for lunch together, I'm like, you two are playing one another in round one, and it's really interesting to see. So we were talking out in the practice area, and they're all chatting. Like, Mario's showing me the trainers he likes. I said, if you win the tournament, I'm going to buy you these new Jordans. I don't know if I actually have to do that. So I'll probably buy them and just take it out of his prize money.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Deduct it.
Just so you sort of know. And I was there, and I was like, oh, do you know what? I just love the Whirlpool Masters. I love this event. Like I said, it just feels like we've done so many open fielded events, and we haven't had this for a year. And now all of a sudden we've got a ranking system, which, like, we don't have to pick the wild cards anymore. Sorry, we're doing a few rehearsals. We don't have to pick the wild cards anymore. Like, after the World Championship, we were like, right, 14 players already known, like, right, visa dependent, but they're already known. And now it's just the 2 wild cards. So it's forming its own criteria, and it's the one table set up. The arena's cool. We've got these banners around. I got this cool little idea, and I've already told the players, when they get knocked out of the tournament, their banner, their light is going down. It's going off.
Wow, that's cool.
And I
like that.
That's
cold. Yeah, cold as anything. Love it. And I said maybe the big noise will come as soon as the 9 ball goes down. It goes like, and it's like X Factor or whatever. But yeah, wow, we just put a few quirky ideas into the arena in here, and we've got a really good team working on it. And I think when we go on air in a couple of hours, I think everyone's going to look in and go, yeah, Matchroom event, we're back.
Yeah.
What are the players feeling like, you know, as far as being not invited to this event, but earning their way onto it? You know, is there a different vibe that knowing that, you know, I played my way here versus, you know, maybe in years past where it was more just of a selection?
Yeah, you're seeing them talk about it in their interviews, because obviously there's been a few features that the TV production have done, and their sit-down interviews. It's, you know, there's a full tour now. So, you know, like, our top of the show for this evening is going to be quite lengthy, because there's so much to talk about. You know, our last event was Premier League pool, but we didn't have any press, you know, we didn't have any studio chat. So really our last proper chat event and full graphics and production was the World Championship in February. Like, can you imagine what has happened since then?
Yeah,
like,
sure,
so much has taken place. So our top of the show is just talking through the tour, the players, how they qualified through, explaining the format, the change of the format. And the players just seem, they're not really talking about how they've gotten through, you know, behind closed doors or anything. They just seem really happy and just love that they're here. And it's just like, you don't have to justify why you pick people. It's just, I know you're probably gonna ask me about the wild cards and shit like
that. Question.
Well, since you brought it up,
no.
Well, no. Let's talk about you said visa dependent, and we've run into a couple of problems with a couple of people over various events with visa issues, not all pertaining to the UK, but predominantly UK based. Is there anything, you guys have to have talked about this at this point and said, okay, how do we stay on top of this going forward? Or how do we help the players know what to do ahead of time? Or how do they inform us far enough ahead of time? What have you thought going forward?
I think that we're in a much stronger position we are now than what we were probably 18 months ago. Because we weren't really on top of the visa situation. But now, like, we've got an exactly same situation in darts. Like, we were talking with the darts when Fedor's, when we had the situation, and the darts were telling us we've got a player that's been sitting waiting for 8 weeks and he still doesn't know. And then it's the same happened with one as Jake. He applied for his US visa for the Mosconi Cup, and we were trying to phone call, we were trying to email, we couldn't get through to anyone. And Jake missed the Mosconi Cup. So it's not, we can't do it. Like, one of our own team members couldn't go to the Mosconi Cup. And I had to, that was a massive loss for us. Like, Jake's, a real integral part of our team. And that was really last minute for us. So it's not that we're not doing anything to help them. We physically can't do anything. And sometimes these situations are just out of our hands. So what we do is we put a deadline on it. We want to support the players, and talking with Fedor, being in communications with Fedor, he obviously notified us, look, hang on a second. And he applied well in advance. He knew he was already in from the World Championship. So he applied in advance, and he's had a really, really, bad luck with this. He's applied in advance. It's not come through. He notified us, and we set a deadline, and we said, right, so you understand. And he really, really understood. And, credit to him, because he was really gracious, really understanding. And I said, look, I can't leave you 2 days before, because I'd have to just put in like a Brit or someone local, and I don't want to do that. This is the elite. So, and we said, right, okay, Friday. So, because it's not going to come in the post over a weekend. So when he first notified us, we already chose our replacement. So we went to Duong about the Whirlpool Masters, and we said, if this happens, can you replace him? And do you have a UK visa? Do you have all the necessary requirements? So we already had that in place 1 week before Fedor withdrew. So we already had that in place, as well as a secondary option if Duong obviously couldn't. And we received back that Dong was fine. He has his UK visa. And basically, we've given him Friday deadline. And we said that as soon as we get that from Fedor, you can book your flight. So for us, that's quite structured. That's quite a good plan. And little did we know that Duong, I just feel like saying
what
to
he
him,
thought they were.
You silly Billy. You silly Billy, sort of thing. And he's arrived to the airport. He's booked his flights. He's arrived to the airport, and I've got a message on Sunday, and he's literally like, I'm at home. They've WhatsApped. He's at the airport checking in, and they've gone, no, your visa doesn't start till the 25th of May. You can't go. And he's like, it's a really, really different circumstance. Do you see what I mean? We've just been hit with like a bit of a bad luck train. So in those situations, to then go into how we pick the next person coming in, it's a Sunday. I'm not with my team. We're all talking on WhatsApp. We're all trying to talk with one another. This is situations happen. And you've got to start thinking of going, right, how many days until the tournament? When does this player play? So how long can they get there? What's happening at the moment? You have the SEA games happening at the moment. Alyosha's Yap was, in a contender of names. You had the SEA games. So we looked at the list of that. Okay, all of those players can't come. Right, that's that. But so we look at that, and then we go, okay, who's maybe local? What's their play been like this year? Do we have any... we've created titles. So the titles for the show were created a month ago when we knew the players. So do we have footage of this player to quickly put in and replace? Like interviews, can we do that? English speak, or there's so much around it. Do we have a TV in that area? So it's not just, and rankings. So there's so many different kind of things thrown into the mix. and you've got to make a decision in an hour, because the longer you leave it, the less likely you're going to get your player.
Right.
So, it's one of those things that we all talk as a team, and we made the decision in like an hour and a half, because I always think you just sit on a decision like that, you just think it through, make sure it's the right thing to do. And of course, we're always going to upset someone. And I don't want to discredit the rankings. The rankings is something that's showing to the players that you can get in by order of merit. And yes, Fedor withdrew from the rankings. So there's the argument that we didn't fill it with a wild card. We didn't fill it off the rankings.
Right.
But I think very strongly that too close to win an event, at that moment in time, the promoter should be able to replace from a commercial, from an event standpoint, when it's that close to the event. If it was a month ago, then maybe it's a different story. So it comes in with timing, and I think that close to the event, we're well within our right to go, look, we need to make a wild card choice here, and that's the thought process behind it.
Well, that was the process with. How did you come up with Kwok? I mean, that was several weeks out, and Kwok is certainly not in the top 30, 35, whatever. What was the rationale for wanting him to be your replacement?
Well, we did the draw when we thought Fedor was still in.
Right.
So we did the draw, and one of the first things that came to light, it was a commercial decision. Don and
Shane twice.
Kwok and Shane World Championship match, and so we were thinking, yes, this is a grudge match, TV. So it was a commercial decision. So it was a commercial decision, and you look through the rankings, and I know you've got Wojtek, who won the recent PRP event, and you look at someone like him, and then you go, okay, we've already got a Polish player in the field, so we don't have a Vietnamese player in the field, and we've got this grudge match, and also he's a great player. You can't discredit him. He's a very good player. And then you go down the rankings, and you've got like Abdullah, who's also like next on the rankings, but you look at his prize money, and his 2023 is $27,000, but his 2022 earnings is $25,000. That doesn't really show much for this year.
Right.
And then you keep going through, and you go, maybe Naoki because of Japan, and then sometimes you go, well, he was in the Premier League pool. He had an opportunity there. There's Conrad on the rankings. Conrad had an opportunity in Premier League pool. So, yes, I think like a month ago, you would go next on the rankings, do that. But I think when you're so close to the event, you've got to think commercial. We are a promotion. We're not a governing body. We're a promotional company at the end of the day.
A promotional company that acts like a governing body.
No, don't be silly. That's the last thing I want.
Oh my. No, I love the thought process through it, though.
Rankings are flawed, by the way. So we had to create our own ranking system.
And I love the ranking system, and I love the merit-based thing. And I kept thinking, well, if I'm someone like Wojtek, and I'm looking at him saying, this is why I'm playing all these ranking events, so that I would be, in theory, in my head, I should be next man up, right?
Yeah, and I respect that.
So I understand that, and I just, and it's not a criticism. It's just trying to get an understanding, because it would be an obvious question people would ask, right? So so I think that looking at it, saying that you're looking at it from a promoter standpoint, from an event producer standpoint, at that point, then I can understand saying, okay, we're going for there's 10 factors involved now, not just one, which would be the ranking.
No, do you know what? And I totally agree with you. And I think that Wojtek, I don't have the rankings in front of me, but like you've got like Wojtek sitting there. You've got like Abdullah, you've got Conrad, then you've got Sanj in there. Like Alexa was second at the PRP event. So you've got those people who were like within 16 and 25 on the rankings, who are probably sitting there going, hold the phone, like I deserve this. And I don't want to demotivate those players. They're the players. I don't want to demotivate them whatsoever. I just want to say that when you're that close to an event, you've got to sometimes put your commercial hat on and make the tough decision. But I don't want to demotivate them, because all I would say is get to the next ranking event and get into the top 14. You've guaranteed your spot. And if you do, if you are on the sort of sitting there number 15, and this did happen a month ago, you would have been in. So sometimes these situations happen. All I would say is that it wasn't their time yet. And putting in someone like David Al-Kaidi now is a no-brainer for us. He's won the event twice. This is how much goes into it. The Matchroom team, we looked at his Mosconi Cup playing record in the one-table Matchroom arena. You got to understand, some of these guys in that mixture coming into a first-round match at the Whirlpool Masters, that's quite daunting. And it could be an easy match. You're looking at that Dwong grudge match with Shane. That would have been tasty for TV. Sure. But David Al-Kaidi's won this twice. He's got experience. He had a very strong record at Mosconi in Vegas. He would have been MVP if he had played one more match than Joshua, I believe. And, it felt like the right choice to make. So, but we did sit there. We did all of that planning. It's not like, and I text, David was laughing about it last night. I text David and I went, are you practicing at the moment? And then I didn't speak to him for 45 minutes. And he was like, he said, I called Fran and I was like, oh my God, what is she doing to me? Why is she doing this? And Fran's going, maybe it's Whirlpool Masters. And David's going, no, it wouldn't be Whirlpool Masters. What's going on? Like, she's going, Emily, ? And I'm trying to talk with the multi-sport team on WhatsApp. And then Phoebe's created a poll. And then the guys were like, let's put Judd Trump in. I was like, stop it. This is what we're getting out of hand.
That would have gone over well with Mike, I'm sure.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. But, I just want to explain that there are, like exactly what Mike's just said, there are 10 factors that go into something like this. You got to think, we've got loads of footage of David. It's also a really nice story. Imagine if David came through. He has won this twice. He's a great player in this. His record this year, I said to him, he needs to pull his finger out of his ass, because he can't rely on a wildcard spot for the Mosconi this year, because Fran has proven that he can play Mosconi without him. So, that's how Alex was sitting on the fence this year, last year, because Fran was the rookie.
Right.
So he has to get in off order of merit. So yeah, there's a lot to it, but I respect the guys. You
said it would be a great story if David went through and won it, but by the same token, if David goes through and wins it and I'm Wojciech, I'm thinking that should have been my $40,000. So will you?
No, but you never know how he'll stand up. You know what you can expect from David on a one TV table. The pressure doesn't get to him. With Wojciech, there's still more question marks. He can win a tournament, but winning a tournament on a Matchroom stage by yourself under the lights, it's a different animal.
But then on the other side, you could be looking at Wojciech or one of the other players who was also, close, and they could be saying, well, if I'd have my opportunity, I could come here and win it. And that's the story going through. And I've just won my first, invitational event. So I understand what they're saying. I think there's just so much that goes into it. And, we just have to make sure it's not a whitewash round one. And we have to put in, it has to be an elite class, elite field. And it's just not their time yet. But their time is coming. That's all I can say. Those players that are sitting there going, I deserve that. Listen, the tour is going to get huge and they'll be going, I'm qualifying top 14 when the prize money is doubled. That's what, when they're looking back. So I just say patience, trust in the system, trust in the rankings, and don't let that demotivate you.
Yeah, honest enough. And it is, it is what it's cool that it's that important to these players. Right. There must be something there if it means that much to them that they would get upset about something. So to that,
I'd be upset if they weren't getting upset. I love that they're upset because it shows their passion. So it's good. And I'd rather them call me up and go, Emily, what is going on? I'm playing all these ranking events. Blah, 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 blah. I'd sit there and go,
No. They call Carl now. They're calling Carl in Germany now. That's the plan, right? The buffer. We got the buffer now.
to say that and rank to me. I don't mind that because it shows they're passionate. So I don't mind that. I'm telling the players now, if you want to have a rant, give me a call, but it's fine. So I would just, I feel for them at the end of the day. I don't want them to get demotivated.
So
is there any thought to giving like maybe some other places automatic qualifiers? You know, you mentioned Alexa before. You know, I think about Loho Sum last year coming up runner up in this event. You know, I would have loved to see if he could have, you know, repeated on a run like that. I know he hasn't done much when it comes to rankings, but has there been any thought as far as giving, you know, some more automatic spots, or like let's say a guy like David, for example, does win the event, you know, and then he's not in the top 15 of rankings, you know, have those conversations been had at all?
Not really. You know, that's why we keep the wild cards. You know, that's why we have a World Masters and we keep 2 wild cards in there. Obviously, there's the TV side of things and that, you know, that situation. If, for instance, a player who played in the Premier League pool didn't get in the World Masters off of the rankings, but they won that, then probably we would have put them into the World Masters. So that's why we like to keep the wild card situation. So it is always there. We want to put rankings first, but like the World Cup pool, the top, you know, you get the 2 host countries, and then the remaining top countries off of the rankings automatically are in. And then we select the number 1 player from the rankings, and then we still have a choice of a wild card because it's still a TV show as well. And the rankings aren't fully structured yet. So, you know, it may be that more ranking spots are awarded as the years go on, when it actually, you know, they've been running for 17 months now, the World 9-Ball rankings. So they're still in their early days. So it will just develop as time goes on.
We're seeing the reintroduction of a Chinese player back onto a Matchroom stage, and Zhang, you know, getting being invited and playing Victor in the very first round. Can we expect more players? You know, last year I remember not seeing a Chinese team for the World Cup of Pool. Is that something that's on the horizon? Back for the Matchroom,
possibly, Mike.
Matchroom
Possibly,
Lights?
I feel possibly coming up.
I can't say anything
names.
because Matt and Jake will kill me because they've got this whole PR plan around the World Cup of Pool team selection. So everyone knows the ones who have kind of qualified. So it's Spain is the 2 hosts, and then it's the top 15 countries on the rankings. So you quite figure that out, who the teams are. And then we've got our wildcard teams. So yes, China.
We want Wu. We want Wu.
We want Wu.
Yes.
We want Wu.
Yeah.
We want the right Wu.
Yeah.
We don't want Dom's Wu. We want the right Wu.
Okay. No, we've obviously been in communication. We've been in constant communication with the CBSA, you know, since the lockdown, always offering them spots, and it's great. All I'm going to say to you is this year they are taking up those spots, and we're going to see representation from China in all of our events, and I think it's fantastic. I think that some of the players here are going to be going, oh my, you know, this is, it's
I love that. I love hearing
it's
that.
an elite playing field. So yes, we're going to be seeing that representation, and the CBSA have chosen to, you know, participate in these tournaments. So it's really exciting for us to have these players back, and I can't wait to see how he is on the table against Victor.
Yeah, that'll be great. We're all looking forward to that. And I think, you know, as fans and even as players, getting the Chinese players back into the mix is great. For you as a promoter and a television producer, getting the Chinese back in has got to be pretty tasty too, right?
Yeah. We've you know, we want to follow in the footsteps of Snoop. I respect that 9-Ball isn't, you know, the main form of the game in China, but you know, we see that, but that doesn't stop our determination. We see 9-Ball as a global sport, that it's everywhere. You know, it might not be the main form in China, but it doesn't stop us from being there and being able to have participation there, and also to have, you know, the CBSA be able to send the players over. So, you know, that's real positive for us because we market the World 9-Ball Tour as a global sport it's open to everyone. There are no restrictions. Anyone can play in our tour. And you know, that's what it is in a tin, really. And so to have that global representation, it's brilliant. We've secured a new TV deal for the World Cup of Pool in China, so it's really good news, and I think
There's a
it
tip
just
off
steps
that
up the playing field.
that's a tip off that China's going to be in the World Cup of Pool, Mike. Just saying. They secured a TV deal for the World Cup of Pool. Yeah. That's pretty much the deal breaker right there.
But I didn't say it, did I? So I can't.
No, you sure didn't. So Matt can't get ready. The other thing that this global, you know, expanse of all the players and getting up is obviously the betting angle. And we've had a lot of discussion. We talked to your guy Matt Lynch yesterday about the odds that came through on this event and how important the betting is to the future growth of the sport. So tell us a little bit more about, you know, from your point of view on how important, you know, this aspect is to the game, and how, you know, we talked to Matt a little bit yesterday about the dealings with how these guys, what kind of statistics, what kind of information they use and where they get that information from to develop these odds. Because, you know, as Americans, we look at some of these odds and think, yeah, Copinier is 20-1. Give me some of that.
Yeah, exactly.
I know. You look at, when we first looked at the odds, we were all like sitting. Obviously, we don't make any bets, by the way. You know, we're very professional. But we're looking at them, we think, bloody hell, you put 500 quid on some of these players. You're absolutely laughing. But look, I would say, like the world ranking system, it's developing, so it's very new. And, you know, that you wouldn't see those kind of odds when you were looking at snooker. There would be a lot more competitive. There'd be a lot more current. So within, you know, what's happening. So they're not aware and they're not familiar with the sport yet, sort of thing. So that's part of a major push for us from 2023, where we are pushing a lot more matches for the betting side of things. So that's a big push that we're doing. And then that's why we launched our integrity unit at the same time, because of the amount of matches we're pushing on the betting side. So we spoke previously about the Premier League pool and, you know, why we do that setup, and it's purely for betting. So I think these kind of odds and things like that, it's just because it's unknown territory for these markets. So the more that we push the odds, the more that we promote, obviously, the betting side of things, the more competitive the odds, and this will get for pool. You know, we should be able to present competitive odds for the World Pool Masters. So it's integral to our events moving forward, and it's also up to us to educate the players when it comes to, you know, the integrity side of things. But I think because we've got the snooker and the darts to follow on from, it's quite a good system to obviously follow. So something like this and us pushing the betting side of things is very, very good for the events. And it's, we just have to keep looking at it.
When we talked to Matt yesterday, you know, we mentioned about the integrity unit, and he said the players are well versed, you know, as far as what they're not allowed to do. How important has that been from y'all standpoint to educate the players or put the fear of God into them, you know, as far as you know, staying on the up and up?
Well, I think our bottom line is with everything when it comes to speaking with the referees out on the playing field, when it comes to a foul, when it comes to disciplinaries or anything like that, we never want to reprimand the players. You know, we put it on our thing with the forceful break. You know, we put it on there. It's not you know, if you do not use a forceful break, we will foul you. But it's not our intention to do that. But we have to obviously implement these things. So it's the same with everything with the players. If we don't want to fine them, we don't want to ban them, we don't want to do any of that. We want to educate them, tell them, you know, just don't go near it. Don't go near it. You know, and it's the same thing. They're professional athletes. That's how they should be viewing themselves. We are trying to educate them that they are professional athletes. So then when they do walk through an airport, they are noticed. They are stopped for a picture, not just in a pool hall. in an airport, when they go to another sporting venue, they are noticed and they are asked for a picture. We've got Jason Shaw going to Sheffield tomorrow, and he's doing a feature with one of the darts players or with Sky Sports. So there's a cross promotion there where
Nice.
he's doing it with, you know, one of the top 3 darts players in the world, and he's doing a feature with them. We're trying to promote their personalities, their platforms, increase their social media, so they believe that they are athletes. So it's all part of this overall package: the ambassadors, the integrity unit, the rankings, the world tour as a structure. It's about educating the players and showing them that they have a tour now, they have a system, they have a career, but life-changing career. So, you know, me and Barry talk about it all the time. We want to give a prize to the first player who hits that $1 million mark on a 2-year ranking list. That's what we're working to. That's what gets me out of bed. I want that player to be a millionaire. I want one of these players to come up to me and go, I'm a millionaire. Oh my gosh, I'd collapse on the floor, you know, probably do a lap, you know, run around. That's what we're doing. It's about educating. We don't want to create hurdles for them. We don't want to catch them out. We want to help them. We want to build their career. So it's about working with them.
I hope that they understand when it comes to that betting format how important that is to the future of the sport and how not to muck it up, because you know, we just saw in the last 3-4 months the bans on players in snooker from betting. Did that have any fallout with betting partners in terms of their willingness to take on snooker? Has there been any repercussions from that, or have they been pretty happy with the way snooker handled its self-policing?
I can't talk too much on the snooker side of things, but they have, all I can say is that they have this structure in place that it'd be silly for us not to follow them. You know, they've got this structure in place where they do disciplinaries, and they're following everything by the book. And the problem that we've had with Pool is that the gambling companies see Pool as crooked. That's why we've had to professionalize it. And that's why we've never had things like betting odds. That's why the odds are a little bit thingy, because it's not current within the market. So all I would say is that on the snooker side of things, that, you know, a lot of the players were seeing those press releases go out and those statements go out. So they're very much aware of what's happening in that division. And, you know, it's just stay away from it. Just stay away.
Yeah, well, it's so critical.
So
I mean, it could ruin you.
Well, I think the thing is, the players, in Pool, it's slightly different. They don't have the full tour. So for them to be a part of this tour for moving forward, they don't want to mess that up. They're just now all of a sudden, they've been promised all these things in their careers. People coming and going, you know, maybe not being paid prize money, or people, you know, promoters making promises and not following through with it. We have come out and said, we are 100% committed to 9-ball. We are all in, we're invested, we're committed, let's go. And so they finally got, you know, Matchroom Sport saying that to them, communicating that to them. So why would they mess it up? You know, they haven't had anything. So I think Paul's got a great opportunity, and it's just about talking to the players. And I think they're aware of the situation, what's happened in snooker. And we're always here for questions anyway. So I think we're quite approachable in that way.
Well, we got a big event that starts in a few hours, which we're real excited for. Before I go into the matches that are starting, I just want to circle back here real quick, Emily. You mentioned the CBSA, and I wonder, has there been any talk to maybe rebirthing the China Open, which was, you know, a real strong event in its day, now that those markets are opening up?
Yeah, it's nothing that I've actually never really seen it in action, because obviously when I came in, you know, it was very much our 3 events a year. So we're in talks with the CBSA, which is really exciting. Like I said, we're a global tour, so we want to be in every location. That's our aim. I can't speak for whether they've got their dates or what's going to be happening at that point. I just know that when they get that, they'll be announcing that. So if they're sending players over here, then hopefully things are opening up. So
Yeah,
I'd love to
right.
see a China Open. I'd love to see a China Open as part of our tour. And I think the players would love that. So yeah, I think it'd be brilliant.
Well, part of the matchups from today include two players who have been in a China Open final, and Jason Shaw and Ko Pin Yi, who end day one.
Yep.
It starts off, though, with the defending champion, Josh Filler versus Niels Fine. Emily, how excited are you for day one of the Whirlpool Masters?
Yeah, it's just like there's so many different matches. I'm like looking at the graphic. I'm like, right, who's playing tonight again? Look, you got to start with a defending champion. When we did the draw and we were doing the match schedule, we're like, oh, there's so many great matches. Where do we put them all? And it's like time difference. You obviously it's a Wednesday evening here in the UK. You want to build up to Jason Shaw, so the British fans tune into Sky Sports, and you're building up to that. You start off with the defending champion Joshua Filler, but Niels, you just don't know what's going to happen in all of these matches. I mean, you're looking at Max Lettner and Mohamed Soufi. Like, I'm going to be in this arena glued to that match because I cannot wait. Like, I mean, watching Soufi in the practice, and he's just like, he's so smooth. He's like a smooth operator. He's like, the guys are all in like their Jordans, they're in their jeans. He's there in like a really smart polo top, his dress pants. And he's just like just breaking, he's like doing his thing. And he's just like smiling away. I think, and he's getting used to the tighter pockets back here. Obviously the World Championship was played on the diamonds, which are a little bit more forgiving. And then they were rattling. But these tables back here, like, he's hitting a few shots and they're rattling and staying up, and I love that. And he's getting a feel for the tables, and so that could be something that he could come through and win. It's a brilliant match. And then like you said, you be leading up to Jason Shaw, Ko Pin Yi. I mean, you don't know what can happen. Each of these matches, this is what I wanted from a Whirlpool Masters. You cannot guess each match. You might have a slight favourite, like a 51-49%, but they should never be.
I don't know about 51-49. It may be a little 2-1 on the money in a couple of these matchups here. Yeah,
I just think anything.
But listen, there's a lot of unknown. I don't know how Max is going to do against Soufi. I don't know how Soufi is going to do coming back from a World Championship final. There's a lot of question marks, things that I want to watch. Niels, I'm sure he's got a chip on his shoulder coming in as an underdog against Josh, and then Ko and Jason flip the coin, who, as far as who's going to be the favorite. So it's a big day.
It's like we're doing our job as a promoter. We're getting you excited to tune in, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
It's like taking me away from my job is what. Well, actually, this is kind of my job, but it's kind of.
I'm just going to show you. I might have to go soon because we're just starting the production meeting. They're waiting for me, but this is all just starting over here. All these.
Oh, that's nice. Oh, wow, yeah, it's beautiful.
Give everyone a wave.
Give everyone a wave.
Yeah, there you go.
I won't interrupt. They'll get very angry.
Kickoff is in 3 hours, right, Emily? 3 hours till kickoff.
It's 3 o'clock. 3 hours kickoff.
Perfect.
Oh, I'm so
we'll be there.
Emily Frazer, we appreciate you coming on as always. We appreciate all you guys for tuning in. Make sure and tune in wherever you're at. We're excited for it. Emily, thanks so much for coming on, and we'll talk to you soon.
You're welcome. Let me know what you think.
See you guys. Oh, we will.